productive people, thank you for joining me in today's video. By the end of this video, you're going to have a better grasp on your meals, your recipes, the ingredients that you have, and your shopping list. All of these things seem mundane on a daily basis, but when you really sit down and you think about it, it takes up a lot of mental bandwidth, right? If you're sitting there, you're in a deep work state and you're getting a lot done, all of a sudden that thought pops in your head, oh, I'm hungry, or oh, what am I going to cook for dinner tonight? And that leads to a cascade of a ton of other events that happen, like, oh, do we have the right ingredients? How long do I need to allot to cook this? A whole cascade of events. Where's that recipe? Did I save that recipe? So there's a whole lot of time that gets wasted when it comes to planning and eating. And it's necessary. We all need to eat. We all need to enjoy our food. And I think that this is going to make eating and cooking a whole lot more enjoyable for you. Now, I originally built this system over in Notion. And if you want to check out the Notion version of this video, I'm going to have a card pop up in the corner right here. But before you click off and you head over to the Notion version, I just want to let you know that I wouldn't be rebuilding this in Coda if it wasn't truly at least like 10% better than it is in Notion. I would say though that this is way better. I'd say that the meal planner is now on steroids over in Coda, and it's just great. I love the Coda version that I set up. So definitely stick around if you want to see how to build it. And I'm also going to have a link in the description and the top pinned comment, so you can scroll down and you can just download this template very easily and you can get started using it. You don't even have to worry about building it or how it works, because I'm about to show you how it works right now. So we're gonna go over my Coda meal planner right here, and then we're also going to take a look at my old meal planner in Notion that I used. So you guys can see how these look side by side, and you can come to a decision as to which one you want to build. But let's start out with the Coda meal planner. This is my all recipes page. So if I scroll down here, you'll see that I have things like baked salmon and chicken parmesan. And by the way, if you do click on that link, all you have to do is hit copy doc to add it to your Coda workspace. And I recommend actually trying out some of these recipes because I'm pretty happy with them. I think that they're pretty good. So if I click into like chicken parmesan, for instance, you'll see that it has my ingredients here. It has a picture up top, and then it also has a whole list of instructions on how to cook that meal. It also has course type, so I can change between like dinner, lunch, breakfast, side, whatever it is. And then I like to include this experience level here, tried and true or wish list. So I like to add recipes that I want to try someday on my wish list, but if I've never tried them before, it's nice to be able to see only the recipes that I have a good experience level in as tried and true, so I can filter that out. And when I'm trying to like think about cooking something, I'm not looking through all of the recipes like my wish list and the ones that I know how to cook. I can just see the ones that I already know and that I'm confident in. So we also have tags here where you can mark something as a favorite, quick and easy, healthy, guilty pleasure, and you can use multiple. So if it's favorite and it's healthy, or if it's quick and easy, favorite and healthy, man, that's a good combo, right? You can add all of those in there. So that's pretty neat. You can also add it to your meal plan with this green button right here, and I'm going to get into that in a moment. You can see the number of ingredients, and you can see all of the linked ingredients right here. You can also favorite this, and other people can favorite it by clicking that button right there. So aesthetically, this page is really nice. If you wanted to add a new recipe, you just click this button, and then you just fill it out. So new recipe here, and then you can add your instructions here. You can select the course type, the experience level, the tags, everything that you saw in the last one, and then your new recipe will show up in here. This doesn't have any information populated into it, so I'm just going to delete this one. But let's move on to the second part of this, which is the random recipe generator. This is a pretty neat tool that allows you to generate recipes. So if I hit get random recipe, it's just going to pull a random recipe for me if I don't know what I want to cook that night. This isn't set up with any filtering or anything, but you could set this up just so that like you have a button that's like get random recipe or get healthy recipe or get tasty recipe, whatever, and you can filter that based on the different properties that you have set over here on like chicken parm, for instance. This one is dinner, so I could set this up in theory to just generate dinner options if I wanted to. But this is a pretty neat tool, and it just helps you to come up with ideas for what to cook. Then we're going to head over to my meal dashboard. And we're going to head over to my meal dashboard. And this page is more for fun, but I'm sure you'll gain some insights out of this if you fill this up with all of your recipes. It just basically shows how many recipes you have by course type. So dinner is like the most common thing that I have in my recipes. I also have snacks and breakfast. So that's pretty neat to be able to visualize that. And you can also visualize your tags. So like how many things are quick and easy, healthy, guilty pleasure. So the goal of this would be like, if you wanted to eat healthier, then you would just, in a sense, you would try to add more healthy recipes because you can see that the healthy bar is quite low here. There's also this word cloud feature that allows you to pull different words out of your recipes. So if they occur a lot, then so you can hover over them and see how many times it occurs in your recipes. A lot of these are just one because I've only listed the word one time, but this is pretty neat as well. It just gives you an overview of some of the words that are common within your recipe database. At the top here, you'll also see that this is actually updating live. So I have 7 favorite recipes, 40 total ingredients, and 8 total recipes. Now, speaking of ingredients, let's go over to my ingredients. So this is my ingredients database, and you can see here all of the items that are related to different meals that I have in my all recipes. So if I go into baked salmon here and I scroll down, I'll see those recipes related right here. So if I wanted to click on salmon, for instance, I'll see those recipes related right here, and I can even hover over it and I can see the status of it. I can see these ingredients right here, and I can see all the ingredients right here, and I can even hover over it and I can see the status. So this is on my shopping list right now. So let's head back over to my ingredients. And as you can see, there are 2 statuses. There's shopping list or in stock. So whatever list it's on, that's going to dictate whether you need to buy it if you add it to your meal plan or not. So let's go back to all recipes and let's add a few things to our meal plan. So let's say we're gonna eat the baked salmon. So I'm gonna add that to the meal plan. I'm just gonna quickly select the date right here. So let's say tomorrow, and let's also add tasty potatoes for, well, we could add that for tomorrow as well. But potatoes and salmon. And then all I have to do is head over to my weekly menu, and it's going to have everything that I have scheduled in right here. So I had a few that were already pre-scheduled in, but as you can see, it's just basically listed out your meal plan. And if you scroll down here, you can see it in a calendar view. So I accidentally had baked salmon on this day twice, but so in this case, I accidentally had baked salmon added to my meal plan on the same day twice. But as you can see, this could be very useful if you wanted to even just drag things around, move things around in your meal plan. And yeah, this is a nice way to view it overall. If you want to, now this is one of my favorite features that I'm about to show you. If you go under this drop, now this next feature that I'm about to show you is the shopping list. If you go to this drop down right here, it'll have this week's shopping list. So if you click on that, it's just going to show you everything that is currently on your meal plan that's not set to in stock. So if the status is shopping list, that means it's out of stock, right? So if I had salt out of stock, like just imagine you're going through the store and you have your shopping list up on your phone, you just click this button right here and it buys it for you. So in stock, all of these are going to in stock. And now it just says dynamically, nothing else needed for this week's recipes. So we know that the shopping list is all checked off. We're ready to cook our meals. There's also this backend tab over here, and this is just to get the functionality working properly. So these are all the tables, but you don't need to head over here if you're just going to be using this. You can stay within the all recipes, the recipe generator, the dashboard, your ingredients, your weekly plan, as well as your shopping list. And once these things are done and you want to remove them from your weekly plan, all you have to do is hit food is cooked, food is cooked, food is cooked, food is cooked. Now our meal plan is back to square one. And we can head back over to our recipes and we can add a new meal to our meal plan. If you finish up with an ingredient and something is out of stock, you definitely want to come in here and change this to shopping list for whatever it is that you're out of stock in the kitchen. Now I'm going to head over to my Notion meal planner. And granted, this thing isn't maxed out. I don't have those nice images in there, and there's a few things that I could probably improve on it, but overall, you're going to see why I moved to Coda for the meal planner. I think you're going to really want to build this in Coda if you've already built the Notion version. So in Notion, as you can see, this is my food dashboard here, and it's got this nice GIF up top here. There's this pretty neat form that's actually a third-party integration from Notion Forms, and this allows me to quickly add new recipes. So if I want to add a new recipe, I'd just type the name of the recipe here, enter the course type, and then I would go down to ingredients, and I'd select any ingredients that are associated with that. So I could just select as many as I need. That would be a pretty weird meal, huh? So then I would select experience, wish list, let's say, and then I could enter the instructions. So step 1, step 2, step 3, add recipe. And once I've done that, I can see it right here. It just populates right into my recipes, and I can click on it, and now it's a new recipe, which is pretty quick and easy to set up for adding a new recipe. I'm just going to delete that out of there. But there are also different views that I can go by on here. So if I go to buy ingredient, the one I'm on right now, it's just going to show me all the meals that are associated with apples. So I've got a few juices in here. So an immune booster and a ginger zinger. If I scroll down and hit show more, I can see even more ingredients. I could go to broccoli here, and I see a beef and broccoli stir fry. I can click into that. And if I have extra broccoli on hand and all these other ingredients, then it makes it really easy to just look at the ingredients, shop and purchase the ingredients. And then the directions are here as well. So if I need to refer back to them, I have them. It's pretty nice. I can also go to buy confidence, so I can see how confident I am in the meal, right? I've got the wish list items, and I've also got the tried and true, so I can see the meals that I've made before and that I know how to make. And then there's the planning section. So this is where I like to quickly add something to my plan. So if I just click on this and I go to cooking on, I can change it to my plan. So let's say I want to do chicken and rice bowls on the 25th. Then I would go over to this week, and I would see only meals for this week on here. And you could also hide some of these columns right here, and you could just see like ingredients, for instance, if you wanted to. And this could kind of be a substitute for how you're setting up your shopping list, because I haven't really found a good way to set up the shopping list like I did in Coda in Notion. The nice thing is, though, is you can see all of your meals in here. So the meal plan in Notion is pretty great, but like I said, I think the version in Coda is just a little better. So if you want to download the template for this, you can click the link down in my description or the first comment, and then just hit copy doc once you have this open, and that will add it to your Coda workspace. If you haven't created one, you'll go through that creation process. It's very quick and easy. And Coda has a pretty good free plan as well, so this shouldn't cost you anything if you just want to copy that and use that meal planner. Now let's get into the building of this thing in Coda. So when you open up Coda for the first time, it's going to look like this, except you're not going to have all of these docs in here. But you can just hit new doc. Then we're just going to start with a blank document. And from here, I'm presented with my first doc. So right here, I can just give this doc a name. So I'm going to name this one recipes. And then you can add an icon if you'd like. You can also add a cover if you want to, and you can edit the page options here. But what we're going to do is just hit slash, and we're going to type table. I'm going to hit enter. And now I have a table that I can start out with for my recipes. So I'm going to call this recipes, and I'm just going to start adding in all of the columns that I need. I don't need these ones, so I'm just going to delete the default ones that it comes with here. And we're just going to start out with the name column. So we're going to name this column add new recipe. And this is where we're going to type in our recipes. So pretty much whatever you want, you can add in here. Just add the name of the recipe, essentially. I'm going to delete these rows. You can also add a column for favorite. So if you want to favorite a recipe, this is nice. You can just go down to reaction, and I like to use the heart for this, and we can name this favorite, so that you have an easy way to quickly favorite a recipe if you want to favorite it, or you can unfavorite it. Then we're going to add a canvas, and I'm going to call this instructions. And you can open this up, and it's just going to be a canvas where you can enter your instructions, and you can also see the different columns that you've added and interact with them as well. So for this favorite here, I can favorite it. I can change the name here. I can add any instructions that I want right here. Now I'm going to hit add cover, and I'm just going to choose from Unsplash, and I'm going to type in chicken, and it's bringing me all these live chickens. Let's just try chicken dinner. Lots of Tyson in here. I don't know how I feel about that. Go with this looks good. Not sure if that's chicken, but whatever it is, looks good. I'm going to click out of this canvas, and we're going to continue adding columns now. But as you can see, it actually has this image column right here. So I'm going to delete that old image out of there. And now we just have our image of the chicken, so, or whatever it is. And I'm just going to call that image, and let's just call this chicken. Now we're going to add a column that allows you to select from different course types. So I'm going to hit add column, going to go into select list, and we're going to hit new, and we're just going to rename this to course type. And then we can add in our course types just by clicking into here, going to select list options, and we can just add some comma separated values. So that just means 1, comma, 2, comma, 3. You just separate the different things that you want to be able to select from in this drop down right there, and you separate them with commas. So I'm just going to enter breakfast, lunch, dinner, hit enter. And now if I click from here, I can just select like dinner, for instance, if I wanted to. Next, we're going to add a select column for experience level. So I'm going to hit add column, and we're going to go to select list once again, and I'm going to call this experience level. And there's only 2 of these, so let's add those in really quick. Tried and true, and then also wish list. And we can add some emojis in here if we want to on the Mac. Very easy. Let's just do a star for tried and true. And then for wish list, add a diamond. Next, we're going to add a select list once again. So new select list, and we're going to enter in some tags. So these are just different ways to tag food. So we could do healthy, we could do unhealthy, we could do really whatever we want in here. Tasty, comfort food. We could just add some different parameters in there just to select from, and I'm going to name this tags. And actually I want to go into the settings on this one and change this allow multiple selections to on. And that's going to allow you to select multiple, so unhealthy and tasty. So now we have 2 tags in there, whereas with this one it only allows you to select 1, and same with this one here. But if you wanted to change that, again, you just go into the select list options and allow multiple selections. At this point, the recipes table is pretty much complete, so we're going to move on to the next table. Now this isn't filled in. If you wanted to add more, you could just hit new row, and then you can add new recipes here. You could also add a button at the top of the page to make it quicker to add a new recipe. So all you're going to do is add some text. So I'm just going to write add a new recipe, arrow, and then we're going to put a button in here. I'm going to do slash and type button, new button, and we can give the button a name. I'm just going to call this add recipe. Then I'm going to copy that, and I'm also going to make that the label. So right here, that will actually change the name of it. Then for actions, just change it to add row and select the table that you want to target. So we're targeting this recipes table. So I'm just going to hit recipes. And then if you scroll all the way down here, you can see different colors to choose from. So if I want it to be orange or yellow or something like that, I could change the color here. And you can also add an icon to the button. So let's just search up food, and we can find some food here. Let's just go with this one right there. And now when I click add recipe, it's going to add a row, but it's not pulling up the canvas for us. So I'm going to hit Command Z to get rid of that. And we're going to right click the add recipe, and I'm going to scroll down and make sure I select this sneaky feature right here. So now when I hit add recipe, it's going to open it up and prompt you to fill it out as if you're filling out a form. So I could name the recipe here, and then I could go through and I could add my instructions. I could add the course type. I could add everything in right here. Let's just delete that now that we have the add recipe button in. We'll refer back to the recipes table in a minute, but first we have to create our ingredients table. So let's get into doing that. So once again, I'm just going to hit new page, and I've got a fresh document here, and we're going to call it ingredients. And once again, we're just going to hit slash, type table, and hit enter on table there, and then we're going to hit blank table, and right here I'm just going to name it ingredients. I'm also going to add an icon here. That one's pretty good. We're going to call this first column item. So this is where you're actually going to type in the item. So for that chicken that we're making, let's just say you need, I know that image doesn't match up well, but we're just going to say chicken breasts. We're going to say, what else do we need in here? Salt, pepper, seasoning. So let's also add olive oil. There could be a few other things in here that we need to add, but this is good for example's sake. Next, I'm just going to delete these other columns in here. So I'm going to click here, delete, here, delete, delete, and then we're going to add a new one. We're going to go to select list, new, and we're going to add some statuses for this. So in stock, comma, out of stock. Get rid of that dash right there. That looks a little better. And we can add some emojis for this too. So I'm going to do a check mark for in stock. Then we'll add an X for out of stock. Let's rename this to status, and you can select in stock or out of stock for any of these here. Now that the ingredients are here and we have them all listed out, we can relate them back to our recipes. So let's go back to recipes, add a new column, go to lookup. This is how you relate different tables to each other. And you're just going to select ingredients. And from here, you can click on the drop down and you can select any ingredients that are included. And as you can see right now, it's only allowing us to select one. But if I click into here, go to lookup options, allow multiple selections, we can add all of these ingredients in here. Next, I'm gonna count out these ingredients. So I'm just gonna click on this button right here, and we're gonna go to formula, and we're just going to type in a very basic formula. So I'm gonna say this row dot ingredients. So we're selecting this row, ingredients column, and then I'm going to do dot count, and I believe that should pull in the count for how many ingredients we have for this recipe. So I'm going to call this ingredient count. That can be useful later on if we need to create any charts or anything like that. Another thing that we can do to take this up a notch and make it look a little bit nicer is go to options and change it to cards. And this is how I have it set up on my template, and I think it just looks a lot better this way. Let's also go into columns, and let's hide some of these columns so that all this isn't being clouded up. So let's hide ingredient count, because that data is useful to have, but not necessarily needing it to be in there. Hide tags. And now I think that's looking a little bit nicer. We can click into here if we want to, and we can see our recipe in all its glory. Now, if we head back over to ingredients and we hit this plus button right here, we can go to lookup and we can hit this referenced by recipes ingredient. And if you click that, it's just going to say which recipe is related to that particular ingredient. So if I added a second recipe in here by clicking my button, I could just type in chicken 2, and from here I can add ingredients. So let's say it requires all the same ingredients. Now that's pretty blank right now, but I can go back over to my ingredients and I'll see that chicken and chicken 2 are listed in the recipes. Now let's delete that. I'm gonna rename this to related recipes. Let's also add a button on this ingredients table like we did over here on the recipes table. I'm just gonna copy this one that I made, Command C, head back over to ingredients, and I'm gonna paste that. Now I'm gonna go into the settings of this button by right clicking it, and I'm gonna change this to add ingredient. Actually, I'll change this in a minute too, instead of new recipe. And I'm just going to copy that, change the label here, add row to table ingredients, and make sure that open row editing is on. And let's just change this to ingredient. So now if I click this button, I can add a new ingredient and I can set the status. So this thing is really starting to come together now. When I first started using Coda, I was kind of confused and I didn't really know how to use it. But now that I know all of these cool features, I actually started helping my brother with a workout dashboard because he needed to track all of his workouts, his mood on that day, the subtypes of his workouts. We're in the process of building that. So it's really exciting. I'm sure your mind is running around with different things that you could build in Coda. And we'll probably be building more in Coda here. So if you're enjoying this video so far, subscribe and hit the bell icon. Otherwise, subscribing is a bit pointless unless you just want to save my channel and not see any of the videos. Also hit the like button. It helps out a ton. It helps out more than you guys know, and our top liked videos always do better. And if you have any questions, just comment below. I'm usually pretty quick to answer those. As the channel's growing, it's getting a little bit harder, but you guys are always my #1 priority, keeping the viewers happy, because without you guys, I wouldn't be here. So if you have questions, just feel free to comment below. Now let's get into building the meal planner. So I'm going to create a new page. Once again, we're going to call it planner, and we've got the little calendar icon. I think that works quite well. So I'm just going to hit slash, I'm going to type table, then I'm going to hit enter, and we're going to create a blank table. I'm going to call it planner. So I'm actually going to change my display column to date, and we're just going to call this date. Very creative, right? Next, we're going to go ahead and delete these columns out of here. We don't need these ones. Next, you're going to add a new column to the planner, and we're going to select lookup recipes, and I'll just call this recipe. And so this is going to allow us to put chicken on a specific date. But in order to get this to work a little bit more fluidly, let's delete these rows first. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this recipe column into the display column, because right now date is set to display column. So we're just going to go into here and we're going to select set as display. Then we're going to head back over to recipes and we're going to add that button so that we can add new items to the planner. So I'm going to hit add column and we're going to select button, and then I'm going to call it add to meal plan, make it orange. So what we want this to do is we want it to add a row in the meal plan. So I'm going to hit add row, and then I'm going to select the table we want to add the row to. We want to add the row to planner. So I'm going to select planner, and then right here where it says set values, we're going to select a column and we're going to set the recipe. So then in this area, we're going to select what we want the recipe to change to. So I'm going to hit equals, and I'm going to do a dot this row to target the row that I'm in, and then I'm going to do another dot and we're going to target the column that we want. So add new recipe, hit enter on that, and then hit enter again, and now we have the button right here. And if I hit add to meal plan, it's going to add that to the meal plan over here in planner. It's going to add chicken. If I want that to open up so that I can select a date for it, which is more useful, again, you can just go into here, you can go to button options and open row for editing. I always forget to turn that on. Let's call this meal plan button. So now when I hit add to meal plan, it's going to pull up the date, and I can just select a date for that chicken to be cooked on. Go back over to the planner, and as you can see, it's in here like that. Let's just delete that row. Now we're going to pull in the ingredients for this specific recipe. So I'm just going to hit plus right here, and we're going to rename this column to ingredients, and then I'm going to hit this drop down here. We're going to go to add formula, and we can enter a formula here for ingredients. So we're going to go recipe dot ingredients, enter. So that's going to pull over our ingredients from the other database. So now that we have the ingredients in here, we actually have to reference over to which ingredients are out of stock and on the meal plan. So we're going to create a formula that filters that, and that will create our shopping list in a sense. So I'm going to hit add column, and we're going to go down to formula. I'm going to rename this column actually before I do that to out of stock, and we're going to click on this again, go down to formula, and here I'm going to enter ingredients, click on this one right here, dot filter. Then within there, it's going to insert current value, but I'm just going to delete that. And we're going to type in status equals out of stock and enter. So now it's just going to show us the ingredients that are out of stock. So as you can see here, salt is out of stock and chicken seasoning is out of stock. Now let's add a column for when this is cooked so that we know that it's cooked and it's out of the way and it's not on our planner anymore. So for that, we're going to create a button column. So I'm going to hit add column, and we're going to go to button. We're going to change this to cook. To the action, we're just going to select delete rows. And then where it says select target, we're going to select the planner, this row, and we're going to stick with our theme of orange. And I'm going to go with this fire for the icon here. So now once this is cooked, it'll remove it from our planner. And if I go back to recipes and I want to add this to the meal plan again, select a date. As you can see, it's showing up here again. Now this is nice to be able to see this with like the date right here and the recipe, but we would also probably like to have a calendar. So below here, just type slash and then type table and click table. And we're not going to hit blank table this time. We're going to click planner. Okay. And we're going to call this calendar view of planner, and we're going to change the view to calendar. Now, as you can see, it's filling that in right here on the calendar, and we can see exactly when the chicken is due to be cooked, and we can even move it to a different day if we wanted to, move it into the past if we wanted to. You can move it wherever you want. Now we're going to add the shopping list so that you can go into the store and you can check items off as you purchase them once you've added everything to your meal plan, and you can kind of see what's out of stock. So we're going to click new page, and I'm going to call this shopping list. We can add an icon here. Now we're going to do slash, and I'm going to type table, and we're going to pull in the ingredients table, and I'm going to call this one shopping list. And as you can see, the shopping list is nice, but it's basically just the same thing that we have over on the ingredients page. So how can we filter this down to just the items that we need on our shopping list? Well, we're going to go into options here. We're going to click add filter, select status, and out of stock. So now it's just showing us out of stock. So we're getting it narrowed down a little bit. This is starting to kind of come together. But if we just want to see the out of stock items that are on our meal plan, we have to add a pretty complex formula right here. So I'm just going to hit add filter, and we're going to do formula. And you want to make sure that this is on and, so that status is out of stock and then we're going to enter the formula here. So I'm going to type contains, and we're going to type planner. Click that one there. And at this point, I actually just realized we need to go ahead and add a filter to the planner. So I'm going to go to filter, add filter for date, select uses interactive filter, and select planner date. So now we have this date right here, and I can show everything, or I can just show this week if I wanted to, or I can show last and next 7 days. That might be useful for the planner view. But the point is I'm going to keep this on everything for now. We actually needed that filter to reference it in that formula that I was writing in the shopping list. So if I head back over to the shopping list now and we go to options and I get back into my filter here, I can continue moving along with this formula. Next, we're going to do dot filter, enter, and we actually just have to select the date, I believe it's called. So we're going to do, yeah, date. It's right here. It's showing up. And it needs to be greater than or equal to that filter that I just created. So for that filter, what's it called? Select planner date. Yeah. Okay. Enter there. Great. So this is coming along well. And then we're going to type dot first, and date is greater than or equal to select planner date. Next, we're just going to select after this third parenthesis right here, and we're going to type in dot out of stock, dot list combine, dot unique, comma, then we're just going to end it off with this row and hit enter. Now, if you're going through the store and you need to mark something as in stock because you purchased it, you just change this drop down to in stock. And as you can see, it will filter it out of the database. Now we have nothing because everything is in stock. But if I go back to ingredients and as I use these things, they go out of stock. I still have that chicken on my meal plan. So let's just turn all of these out of stock. As you can see, butter is out of stock as well, but it's not on the meal plan because it doesn't have any related recipe. So if I go back to shopping list, as you can see, butter isn't included because it has nothing to do with this week's meal plan. Now to make this a smart shopping list, I'm just going to add a text string up here that gets changed based on a formula. And we're just going to hit equals, and then I'm going to type in if shopping list dot item dot count is greater than or equal to 1. And we're going to enter these items need to be purchased to cook your meals. And we're going to go outside of this quote here, and I'm going to put a comma. Then I'm going to create the string that will show up if there's nothing left on our shopping list. So nothing else is required to cook your meals for your meal plan. I'm going to hit enter. And now, as you can see, it says these items need to be purchased to cook your meals. And if I move them all to in stock, it's going to change that text to nothing else is required to cook your meals for your meal plan. Next, I'm going to create the meal dashboard so that I can get some analytics behind the meals that I'm making. So we're just going to create a new page, call it meal dashboard. Looks good. And we're going to create some text up here. So let's just count out how many recipes we have, how many ingredients we have, and how many recipes are favorited. So I'm just going to do a space and type total recipes, and then I'm going to come down here, space total ingredients, down here, space favorite recipes. And you can add an emoji in here if you want to in the front of it. So for recipes, do salad or something like that. Total ingredients, do a carrot, and then favorite recipes, we could do the heart, of course. I'm going to space these out a little bit, and we're going to have a count pull in for each of these. So I'm just going to type in equals over here, and we're going to type in recipes dot count, enter, and there's only one recipe. For total ingredients, we're going to do the same thing. So equals ingredients dot item dot count 6. Here I'm going to do equals recipes dot filter, and we have to select where favorite dot is not blank. We're going to get outside of these parentheses here and hit dot add new recipe dot count, and it says 1. Perfect. So now we have that data right there. And if we wanted to, we could drag it side by side just to make it a little bit more easy and digestible to read. And we could change these to like heading 2. If you want it to be a little bit bigger for that dashboard look, heading 3 might be actually a little bit better. I'm going to change it to heading 3. Then we need to create some charts. So these charts are just different views of your tables. So for this first one, I'm just going to hit slash, and I'm going to type in bar chart. and it shows up right there. And to set up a bar chart, you have to link it to one of your tables. So if we wanted to link it to, let's just say our course type, I would go to recipes and let's just call it course type. And this is set up pretty well, actually. It already pulled in most of the stuff for me. So for course type here, it's just going to be a value of course type. Count that, leave aggregate value on, can change the color here if you'd like to. The orientation is already set to vertical, so that's good. So yeah, our chart is pretty much good to go. You can click up here and hit hide title if you want, so it's a little bit more seamless. And once you have this bar chart, you can actually just duplicate it by highlighting it like that, hitting Command C, and then you can paste it down here. And actually you could drag it to the side of this other one. And if you wanted to configure the options differently, you could change the options so that it shows another analytic of your choice. And I'm just going to leave that as it is for now for this example. And the last thing that we're going to create is a word cloud. So if I hit slash and I type in word, we're going to get this nice looking word cloud here. I'm going to select recipes. And right now it's basing it on the experience level. But if I change that to add new recipe, it's just going to be one big word that says chicken. But if I wanted to, I could come in here, I could add some more recipes. Let's just say green beans. Let's go back over to our meal dashboard. And as you can see, it's now broken those out to different words, which is funny because green it put in yellow. It put beans in green. Now, just to get everything looking a little bit nicer, I recommend going through everything and hiding the titles. So on the recipes here, just hide the title. And also let's go to options, turn that back into cards, delete that one out of there. And ingredients, we're gonna once again hide the title. You can also go into the options and you can go to, what is it, table display, and you can turn off all this stuff if you want to. I'm going to show the grid lines in the column headers, but yeah, that looks pretty good. So yeah, you can basically go in and just change the look and feel of all of this, which is really nice. I don't like to see a lot of this unnecessary information sometimes. I'm gonna hide the title here as well. And we're gonna hide the title on our shopping list. So that's pretty much that, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video of me walking you through how to build a meal planner in Coda. It works out a little bit better than Notion, but it definitely takes some more time to configure these things than it does in Notion. So you'll definitely have to set some time aside to work on this. But I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you didn't get through, just go ahead and download the template. I'm going to have the link down in the description. And if you want, you can download the template and you can look through the way that I configured the template. You can click into some of the columns, see how the formulas are set up, and that should help you out with deciphering what went wrong if you had any trouble. Also, leave any comments that you had below and I'm happy to help. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, subscribe and like this video. All right, we'll see you in the next one, guys.